Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Welcome back to NumeraLYTics. I am your host, Queen Bee, and you are now tuned in to the NumeraLYTics Energy Upcycle Report for February 2026. I want to thank all of the new subscribers for being here. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any videos that we have coming your way. So I really want to thank all of you guys for being here. We have a lot of ground to cover for February. February is a very active month, to say the least. It's active in all planes of existence, in all phases of reality. It's very active spiritually, it's active physically. It's going to be active mentally, emotionally, and historically. So we have a lot of ground to cover. Without further ado, let me just go ahead and get this on the screen so I can introduce some of our people who made it possible for this show to happen today. I'm going to run through the sponsors really quick. First, we have the Unread Book Review with Nick and Rue. Make sure you're subscribed to Nick. He's an astro numerologist at Mr. Westbrook's class. And then Mawu Lisa 4610, and tune in with their show every other Saturday. And we have Kanaya Shasu. She is a sound healing architect, astro numerologist. You can catch her at the Shasu Experience on all social media platforms. Then we have the queen of the Soul Card Studio, Portia Cooper, astro numerologist. Make sure you are tuned in with her and get your divine aligned candle and journal today for 20% off with code Queen Bee. And then we have the Knowledge is Love Tribe. This is a community. It is a subscription to the community. It's worth every penny. It helps you on your healing journey. It's a group discussion in a family place. So make sure you tune in with Big E Astrology and the Knowledge is Love Tribe. Okay. Then, of course, we are sponsored by ourselves, our numeralytics.net. Make sure you get over to the new website so you can check out the cosmic calendar. You can become a subscribed member for $5 a month and get access to your upcycle energy any day that you want of any year. You can also plug in someone else's birthday and get it for them. You can also get your numerology aspects under that cosmic calendar subscription for $5 a month on our website. You can also purchase our journals there, our balancing elemental energy journals for fire signs, water signs, air signs, and earth signs. You can also purchase an astro numerology birthday card on our website and an astro numerology cosmic cub to accompany the birthday card. And right now, we also have a special for the 2026 Upcycle Roadmap report. So this goes by your personal energy factor. They are $35 a piece for download, ready to download on the website. We'll talk about that more as we go a little bit more through the episode. Again, I want to welcome everyone back to Numeralytics. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys had a great January. We recall January was an 11 universal month. I hope that everyone, got some of those spiritual downloads. I hope that you didn't have too much anxious and nervous energy to deal with last month. And I hope that you were able to harness some of that energy and maybe harness some of those inventions that you may have came up with so you can nourish them and let them grow, because right now we're in February. So we shifted, we know every 24 hours the energy shifts. So it shifts every 24 hours, it shifts every 7 days, it shifts every 30 to 31 days, it shifts every 365 days. So these are the energetic shifts that we are dealing with. And right now in this report, we're dealing with the 30-day shift. We're dealing with the monthly shift. So we just came from that 11 universal month in January, and now we're in February. We're in the 3 universal month. Okay. So we're going to get right into it. What we're going to be covering in today's video, of course, we're going to be covering the universal energy. We're going to be covering the do's and the don'ts of the universal month. We're going to be looking at the colors, crystals, and the best uses of the energy for the month. Of course, looking at the astronumeric period of the month and who that favors and who it doesn't favor. We're going to be looking at the personal energy factor, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the 2026 personal energy factor upcycle roadmap. that you can purchase to guide you along your path this year. And then at the end, we'll, of course, do our Eyes on the Sky report, which is our astronomy, astrology, numerology report about the heavens. So as above, so below, as within, so without. So, of course, we're going to make sure we get through all of these things as we go along. But before we get started, of course, the first thing that we want to look at is what period are we in, right? All right, so we're going to begin this thing off talking about the astronumeric period that we're in. So for those who don't know, there are 9 periods during the year that we cover, okay? And we're not going to get into what all the 9 periods are. We're just going to talk about the period that we're in right now. So right now, we're in February, and each month, every month is broken up into 2 periods. So the first period is going to represent that first half of the month. The second period represents the second half of the month. So right now, February, the first half of the month, from February 1st up through the 17th, is going to be represented by the zodiacal period of the 8. Okay. So this is traditionally recognized as the period of the 8. Now, we know 8 represents the planet Saturn. Okay. And Saturn is the traditional ruler for Aquarius. Okay. So that was the traditional application in a traditional period. All right. Once the planet Uranus was found, once the planet Uranus was founded, Uranus was reassigned as the planetary ruler of the sign Aquarius. Okay. So in a modern era, we can look at this period as the period of the 4, which represents the Uranian energy. Okay. So this is going to be the period of the 4. All right. We're not going to get too much into that 8. That's something that we might do for another show and talk about the interaction of those energies and why sometimes that's a little bit fatalistic, right? So we're going to right now look at this period as being the period of the 4, that's Uranian energy. So this is going to be a significant period for you if you're an Aquarius or a Leo, or if you're born on a date that equals the 4th, the 13th, the 22nd, or the 31st of the month, or on the 1st, the 10th, and the 19th, or the 28th of the month, or if you're a life path 4, or if your expression is a 4, and that means your whole name adds up to a 4. This is a significant period for you. Okay. The key days for you for this period are going to be Sundays and Mondays. Okay. And then for this first period of the month, this period is going to be in opposition to those who are Taurus or Libras, or those born on the 6th, the 15th, the 24th of the month, or a life path 6, or if your expression is a 6. This is going to be a little bit more of a challenging period for you this month, not a period for you to go out and do a lot of things and be very active. Maybe some of you, maybe this is a period where you want to look at your structure, look at your the order of the things that you're doing and make sure that those things are correct. Get your things in order, and kind of be on the receptive side depending on other energies. Okay. But that's overall guidance for this period. And then when we move into the end of February, okay, that's going to be known as a period of the 3. Of course, that's favorable to those that are Pisces or Sagittarius, or if you're born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of any month. Your key day is going to be Thursday during this period. And this period is going to be oppositional for those that are Virgos or Geminis, or if you're born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of any month, or if you're a life path 5 or an expression 5. Okay, so that's the astronumeric period. Okay, moving into the universal month. Okay, so February gives us a very clear message this month. It's to express yourself creatively, connect with others, and create, and do that with intention and do it with a sense of spirituality. So, what we're going to be looking at first, of course, is going to be the word February. We're going to be seeing how this expresses itself. Of course, like I said, the expression is going to be all of the letters in the word added up together. So when we look at February in the Pythagorean system of numerology, it adds up to a 42-7. And what this is asking us to do is to get some order and some structure, do that in cooperation and understanding and kindness of others, and do that with the goal of sharpening our understanding of theories and fundamentals of life. Okay, so looking at the more spiritual, mystical side of things, looking beneath the surface to see what's going on with the thing at hand. Okay, so that is what the Pythagorean expression of February is asking us to do. Okay, that seven is a spiritual number, just like the nine that it adds up to in the Chaldean system of numerology is also a spiritual number. Okay, so when we look at that 27, how that breaks down, we see that two again. So that's asking us to double down now on that cooperation, that understanding, and to be patient with others. Be patient with yourself as you do self analysis to look within yourself for your spirituality, for how you want to look at theories and fundamentals. Okay. So that's what that two and seven are speaking to. And then that feeds into that nine. How are you being cooperative, patient, understanding, looking inward at the theories and fundamentals of your own spirituality for the greater humanity and brotherhood of man? Okay, that's what that nine is asking. That's what that whole thing is expressing to us. So, this is important. It's important for us to really pay attention to that energy and making sure that we are making that connection that February is a highly spiritual month. It's asking us to really look inward to see how our spirituality is here to help progress society. Okay. And then let's look at the universal year and the universal month to see how we got that breakdown. We know we're in 2026. So to get that universal year, you do 2 plus 2 plus 6. So that equals a 10 dash 1. And then when we add that to the second month position of February, that equals a 12-3 universal month. Okay, so this is where we are for the universal month. This is the energy theme. So again, this month is asking us to be spiritual, look at our spirituality. So the 10 plus the 1 equals a 12-3 universal month. So our energy theme this month is going to be creative, self-expression, social, active, expansion, fun. And then the shadow side to that three is going to be excessiveness, emotional comforts, emotional extremes, gossip, and scandal. And then that 12 brings victim or sacrifice energy, the victim or sacrifice for the plans or intrigues of others, bringing along mental anxiety and suffering with that 12. So, what that tells us is this month, don't sign up for more than you can do, okay? Because in that energy, you often might want to sign up for something and then later on you don't really feel like doing it. That's one thing. The second thing is watch your surroundings and who you're dealing with and don't allow people to put like batteries in your back. Always be making your own decisions. That's why you need to watch these forecasts and get your roadmap upcycle off the website for $35 so you know what energy you're in. So you can't allow others to put batteries in your back and have you doing things that are out of your character, outside of what you normally may do. Okay, so that's the important of that. Okay, so again, February 2026 is a 12-3 universal month. Okay, that three energy represents fire. So that's proactive, passionate, ambitious energy. That's a masculine current. This is ruled by Jupiter. So lots of optimism, expansion, abundance. This is creative expression. Okay, your words matter this month. Okay, social activity. This is going to be time for minor traveling this month. And it's time for you to have some fun this month with purpose, with intention. Okay. Keep your heart light. All right. Be optimistic and be cheerful. All right. And who's going to be feeling this energy the strongest? Again, this is going to be significant for those that are a Sagittarius or a Pisces, or if they're born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, or if they are a life path 3, meaning their whole date of birth equals to a 3 once reduced, or if their expression is a 3. Okay, so that means if their full name at birth is a three, or even if their key active name, which is your first name, if that equals a three, this could also be a significant time for you. Okay, so your theme again for this month is going to be intensify. The cusp is on the end tide this month. That means it's very active, it's very physical, so it's going to be a very busy month. Okay, and again, watch the shadow side, watch the excessiveness, watch the emotional extremes, watch your gossiping and your scandal, and don't let other people put a battery on your back this month. Okay, this is the month for you to really be creative and express yourself creatively, and not letting others take over what you're doing. All right, so let's move in now to some do's and don'ts. Okay, so the rules for the month. Okay, so these are the rules for the three universal month. Okay, so you do want to be creative and expressive. Okay, express your talents, use your words. Okay, you do want to be socially active. So you want to network, you want to collaborate, show your face, get out there, even though it's pretty cold outside. You do want to have a good time and keep things lighthearted, but don't lose sight of the things that you need to do. You do need to take breaks this month and rest and keep yourself hydrated. Because again, three is fire energy, so it can burn very hot, and it can burn itself out. So you want to make sure you're resting and hydrating. And again, it's a very spiritual month. So there's a lot of spiritual energy going on, and you want to just make sure that you're resting so you can handle that energy as it comes to you. The things that you should not be doing is not, you shouldn't be gossiping, scattering or wasting your energy, or overspending money, or overdoing things with your comfort habits. Okay, those are all big no-nos for the three universal month. Okay, you want to move like you're a creator and not like you're just a reactor to things. Okay, you want to be creating things this month and not reacting to them. Okay, so very, very interesting energy for the month. All right, and then so what are the shades and the crystals for the month? So to stay aligned this month, we'll be working with purple and different frequencies of purple. So you can do purple, you can do lilac, you can do mulberry, you can do lavender, you can do light purple, dark purple, any of those mulberry colors or the wine colors. All of those colors are going to be very favorable to you this month, and they'll help you to stay optimistic and help you to be a light and warmth in every room that you enter, because that is really the goal of the three, right? And then the crystal that we want you to carry this month is going to be amethyst, of course. So why amethyst? Because it helps to calm you down. It helps to calm your nervous system. It helps you to protect your intuition, and it helps you to focus so you can keep that fire energy focused and keep your nervous system calm, and keep your emotions at a calm level, not to get too extreme one way or the other. All right. So that is very much what's going on there. So, what should you actually do with this energy this month? Okay. What's the best uses of the energy for this month? Okay. So, these are the things that you should be doing with this energy in this three universal month. You should be creating something, you should be writing something, you should be publishing something, pitching something, speaking about something, hosting something, attending something that someone you know is hosting, things like that. Okay. The three energy rewards movement and ambitious action. Okay. So, especially in the way you communicate. So, you want to make sure that you're being intentful in the way you communicate with people this month. Be creative in the way that you communicate, and make sure that you're sharing things with the community that you deal with and that you work with. Okay. So, those are going to be very important things for you to do this month. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and move right along into talking about the personal energy factor. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put this on the screen so everyone knows how to get their personal energy factor. Okay, so again, personal energy factor, what is that? That is the number that determines your personal year, month, week, and day of energy. Again, like we said, the energy changes every 24 hours, every 7 days, every 30 days, and then every 365 days. Okay. So right now, this is how you get what energy that you're in respect to the universe. So how to get your personal energy factor, okay? So personal energy factor is the number, again, that determines your personal year, month, week, and day energy. And here's how you get it. Your personal energy factors equals the month of birth plus the day of birth, okay? So for February, all right, if we're going to look at our February examples. So we look at February 1st, that's today. If you add 2 plus 1, that equals 3. You're a personal energy factor 3, okay? If you take February 13th as the date of birth, 2 plus 13, that equals a 15. Your personal energy factor is a 6, okay? And then our last example, if you take the birth date February 16th, that's a 2 plus 16, that equals a 18. Your personal energy factor is a 9, okay? So once you know your personal energy factor, you can start to track your personal months inside the universal month, inside the universal year, week, and day. Okay. That's how you stop living randomly and you start living in rhythm. Okay. And in the description, I'm going to make sure that you know how to get your roadmap for your personal energy factor. Okay. So I put some roadmaps together for all personal energy factors 1 through 9. Again, they're available on my website. Okay. So make sure that you get to the website so you can check that out. All right. So right now, we're just going to go through the personal energy factors for the month real quick. All right. As soon as this changes slides. So for the month of February, we are in an end tide month, okay? And here is a snapshot of the personal energy factors for the month. So if you're a personal energy factor number 1, you are in a 3-4 upcycle, okay? So your focus this month is going to be on work, order, and structure. If you're a personal energy factor number 2, you're in a 3-5 upcycle. Your focus this month is going to be on changes, freedom, and opportunities. If you're a personal energy factor number 3, you are in a 3-6 upcycle. Your focus this month is going to be on the home, family, and community. If you're personal energy factor number 4, you are in a 3-7 upcycle. Your focus this month is going to be on spiritual, inner work, and your mental health. If you're a personal energy factor number 5, you're in a 3-8 upcycle. This is your bounce back month. Okay. You're going to be looking for career achievement and financial wherewithal. If you're a personal energy factor number 6, you are in a 3-9 upcycle. Okay. You're going to be focused this month on endings, transformations, and manifestations. If you're personal energy factor number 7, you're in a 3-1 upcycle. You're going to be focused on new starts, planting seeds, and being independent this month. Okay, if your personal energy factor number 8, you are in a 3 master number 11 or /2 upcycle, where you're going to be receiving spiritual downloads, visionary and inventive and energy, and or collaborative and slow moving germination energy. If you're a personal energy factor number 9, you are in a 3-3 upcycle, and you are to be focused on creating, expressing yourself, being expansive, expanding your social network for personal and business growth. All right. So that is the personal energy factor monthly energy report. If you want more specific information about your personal month for every month of 2026, head over to numeralalytics.net so you can get your personal energy factor roadmap download. Okay. If you have any questions about your roadmap download, I want you to text me on the moon line at 302-492-7722, or you can send me an email at melinda@numeralytics.net, or you can send me an email through the website. Okay. But I want you to make sure that you get your roadmap for the year. They're $35 right now. So you want to make sure that you get in on that so you are aware of the energy that's going to be happening toward the end of the year. Okay. And now we're going to be looking at our eyes on the sky report. So I'm going to pull this slide up because we have a lot going on. This month of February, like I said, it's a very active month spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, historically, astronumerically. It's a lot of there's a lot going on. So we want to make sure that we capture it all. So let me put this back up on the screen. I'm going to come off so we can focus on the report. All right. So for the eyes on the sky, now we're going to be looking at the applied astronumerology. So again, like I said, February is one of the most active months that we're going to have this year. So there's a lot going on. The outer planets are speaking loudly this month. And if you ask me, there's a lot going on, but I think that Uranian energy is going to be the leading factor of this month of February. And that makes sense because this does represent Aquarius in that period. So there's a lot going on. And like I said, the outer planets are really doing their thing this month. And as we know, when the outer planets move and they make movements, it's not like a quick stop. They park and they hang out for decades sometimes. This is transformational energy that we definitely need to make sure that we're tuning into. So now let's get into it. Okay. So we're going to really get into this energy. So we're going to look at the first week of February. That's going to be February 1st through February 7th. That first week, we're starting it off with Uranian energy. It's a 4 universal week representing the planet of Uranus. It's representing the zodiac of Aquarius, or, no, or those born on the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 13th, the 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. Okay. So again, we're already beginning the week with Uranus energy, okay? And that's going to be bringing us a lot of surprises, maybe some upheavals, some revolution, reversals, sudden truths being revealed, technological advances, maybe some public unrest, which we've already seen some of that going on. And that's just going to continue into this week, into this month, okay? The first day, February 1st, we have our full moon in Leo. Okay, that's bringing big feelings and big headlines, big egos, and that's big leadership energy being tested, different things like that. What's so interesting about that is that February 1st is a 4 universal day. So again, this full moon being in Leo, the opposition sign of Aquarius, and 1 and 4 and 4 and 1 being connected astronumerically as the sun numbers. This is a very significant full moon for those who are Leos and Aquarius. So this is a time for you to really look inward and see how you're feeling about things and jot those things down in the journal. So looking next at the next thing we have going on is going to be on February 3rd when Uranus stations direct in Taurus. So again, we're still dealing with the planet Uranus here in the first half of this week. Okay, so Uranus direct in Taurus, that could mean a plethora of many things. One thing I do want to point out is on February 3rd, that's actually a 6 universal day, and 6 represents the sign of Taurus and Libra, or those born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of the month. So Uranus stationing direct in Taurus on this day is very auspicious. It's very significant. So again, and this is not a favorable time for the Taurus, as I stated at the beginning of when we talked about the astronumeric period. This is an opposition time for Taurus. So I'm going to need all my Taurus and Libras and those people, like I said, born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th, or with a life path 6. I'm going to need you guys to really hanker down and make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're checking about your money, your food, your resources. Make sure your resources are okay. There could be sudden shifts or sudden changes in money, resources, land, markets overall, but especially if you are a Taurus or a Libra or born on a 6, this is the time for you to really take care of those things and make sure they're in the right place, okay? Then when we get to February 5th, Mercury is going to be squaring Uranus this day. So again, more Uranus energy, all right? And this could mean chaotic news that might come out, unexpected or disruptive news or communications or conflicting reports. So it could really manifest as a lot of different things, but we want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on that. And again, that's going to be taking place on an 8 universal day. So that's also very auspicious as This is the traditional period of the eight. That eight and four have some opposition when it comes to being paired heavily together. So these are things that we want to make sure that we are on the lookout for. Okay, and then when we get to February 6th, Mercury is going to be entering Pisces. So word's going to actually go retrograde toward the end of the month. So we wanted to make sure that we stated that it's going to be actually entering Pisces on this day of the 6th. Okay, that's going to be on a 9 universal day. So emotions may be high that day. There might be a little confusion with emotions and with communication. So make sure you're communicating things clearly and try not to do it from such an emotional place. Try to be a little bit more logical so your point, making sure your point is getting across. Because we don't want to get into maybe people listening to your message and understanding them as a half truth or like you're trying to put a spin on something. Okay. So that's going to be the importance there. All right. And then so this is a lot going on. So we're just still in the first week and we had all of this going on. So, again, when Mercury hits Uranus and Pisces back to back, we're going to be seeing these rapid messaging shifts. Okay. So it might be some reactionary statements happening. We know there's a lot happening politically. So look for some of this in the political climate with everything that's going on. It could be some sudden leaks or tech driven controversy or leaks due to technology being interrupted or abruptly interrupted. So, these are going to be some of the things to look out for. People may be arguing over what's real and what's not as February starts, because this is really a lot of energy that we're going to be dealing with here. So now let's go into the second week of February, where we're going to be entering into a 5 universal week. Okay, so Mercury, after it caused a lot of little upheavals toward the end of that first week, Mercury is going to be leading the week. The second week of February, it's going to be a 5 universal week, so it's going to have a Mercurial overtone. Okay, so this is going to be significant time for Geminis and Virgos. Okay, so the tempo stays fast this week, but now, it may be about some debating, receipts and details, changes and movement. Okay, there's going to be a lot of activity happening this week. So when we look at February 8th, that's going to be a day where Venus squares Uranus. So again, more Uranian energy. So alliances can be tested that week. There might be some relationship optics going on or unexpected things happening in relationships that we thought were solid. We might see them crumble or vice versa. So a lot of different things that you can infer from that. All right. And then when we look at that February 8th, that's going to be a master number 11 universal day. Okay. So again, that's going to be some illumination and some light being shed on relationships that may be unsavory, relationships that we may not have known about, could have to do with those files coming out. So relationships may get tested that week. All right. And then when we get a little bit later into that week, February 13th, Saturn actually enters into Aries, and that's going to enter into Aries and it's going to stay there for more than 2 years. So now this is going to be a major shift, guys. Okay. So Saturn changing signs. This is rewriting some of the rules here. All right. And then that February 13th, when we look at it, that is going to be a 7 universal day. So again, going along with looking at introversion, self analysis, who's leading you? Who are you allowing to lead you as this Saturn enters Aries? Those are the things you need to look at. Look at life's theories and fundamentals. What theories and fundamentals do you stand for spiritually? Okay, so these are the things that you should be looking at on that day. All right, and then why Saturn Aries? It matters historically because again, we know Saturn equals structure, laws, consequences. Okay, and Aries equals leadership, action, conflict, impulsiveness. So this is a long transit, and usually these transits correlate with looking at authority figures, enforcement of different laws and how they're being enforced, leadership shakeups. It could be leadership that we may be embarrassed about or leadership making impulsive moves that kind of hurt the country. So it could be a lot of these things. Policy battles could be a part of this energy, and increased pressure on institutions to act decisively too, because again, that institution structure in that fast moving sign of Aries, it's going to be impatient. It's going to want to answer quick. So that's very oppositional energy that's going to be meeting in that junction. So that's going to be very interesting for us to see how this energy coalesces over the next couple of years. All right. Let's get into the third week of the month. The third week of February is going to be a 6 universal week. This is going to have a Venus overtone to it. Okay. This is going to be a significant week for those Taurus or Libras or born on the 6th, 15th, or the 24th. Okay. So when we get into this week, relationships, diplomacy, the economy, the public image are going to come to the forefront this week. Okay. And then on February 16th, the sun squares with Uranus. So that could mean sudden disruptions or abrupt pivots or surprises. And then that very next day, on the 17th, we have the solar eclipse in Aquarius. Okay. And this, I mean, there's so much going on with this Uranian energy this month. We know Aquarius equals the people, the systems, technology, and the collective movements. And this is going to be pivotal. Okay. This is going to be pivotal to how things coalesce moving forward for the rest of this year, because this is going to be the first eclipse of the year, setting up eclipse season. All right. And that's also going to be taking place on an 11 universal day. So again, that's going to be putting some illumination. Even though it's a solar eclipse and the sun's going to be hidden, that master number 11 day is going to illuminate what's hidden there. Okay. All right. So then when we move into February 18th, now we're getting into the second period of the month of February. All right. We're moving into Pisces season. All right. And then on February 20th, Saturn and Neptune have a conjunction in Aries. Okay. So this is a very big transit that we're going to be looking at and keeping our eye on. This is a structure meets idealism, reality meets belief. So it can look a few different ways. It can look like laws and leadership being shaped by ideology. It can look like dreams versus discipline. It can look like major efforts to define truth in nationhood and direction. Given the political climate, the Aquarius eclipse plus Saturn entering Aries, the public mood is shifting. Okay. Narratives around leadership are going to tighten up and people are going to be paying attention. It's going to be shining a light on this. Okay. So this is going to be systems versus the people. All right. So this is some tension. Could be, again, civil war tension. Again, the last time this conjunction happened, we had a civil war. So these are the things that we need to look at. And given the political climate, it's not a really surprise or stretch that could happen. So now let's look at the last week of February. The fourth week is going to be a 7 universal week. So we end the week off in spirituality, just as we started it off with spirituality. Okay, so this is going to be the moon and Neptune ruling this last week of February. It's going to have a Cancer and a Pisces overtone. Okay, so now the month is going to be turning inward for self analysis, investigation of our own spirituality, of what fundamentals and theories are we engaging with spiritually. Okay. This is going to be quiet time. It's how our sit quietly to find out, to get the answer about how you should be moving forward. Okay. Then when we look at February 22nd, Venus is going to be in a trine with Jupiter, and they're both going to be in their exalted signs. So that's going to be a good sign because we had a lot going on this month. So this is a good sign that could lead to some positive outcomes, some cooperative energy, financial optimism, positive cultural moments that we might be able to grasp onto. You also have that triple two portal that day. Okay, so that 222 energy. And that's also going to be on the 7 universal day. So that's going to give you an extra spiritual boost to make sure that you are looking inward and looking at what you can do to cooperate and be peaceful amongst humanity. Okay. And then when we look at February 26th, Mercury is going to be going retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So you're going to expect delays, revisions, of course, miscommunications, old stories surfacing, things that have been hidden may be coming to light by way of communication in this energy. So those are some interesting things to look forward to for that conjunction. All right. And then we have for February 27th, where Mars is going to square Uranus. So again, more upheaval energy with Uranus, with that Mars square, that's very combustible, volatile energy. So you don't want to be the person to be provoking chaos during this time. Try to avoid like risky business and risky situations during this time. It's not going to be worth it. Okay. And then looking at the last day of the month, we're going to have a conjunction with Mercury and Venus. So this could mean some diplomatic energy, could be some public relations attempts to try to clean up some of the image of some of the things that may have been happening this month. So that's some of the energy that we have to look forward to this month. So that was your Eyes on the Skies report. I realized that was probably a lot to listen to, but it's very important that we're aware of this energy. I wanted to try to keep it simple and give you like a simple breakdown of this is what's happening and this is what it kind of means and who it's significant for and who needs to make sure they're honing in on it. So hopefully that was very helpful to you. I really want to thank everyone for tuning in to the February 2026 forecast. Again, make sure you head over to the Numeralytics website so you can get your personal energy factor roadmap for the whole year, okay? By your personal energy factor. There's a worksheet on there that you can download if you don't know your factor to get your factor so you can purchase the right roadmap. All right. And then I just wanted to show this. So make sure you don't miss this on February 28th when these planets are going to be aligned in the sky. You want to do this right before sunset. So you're going to have to wake up pretty early on the 28th to get outside before sunset to see the planetary alignment. Okay, so make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves and you're taking care of others. I want to say peace and love to the Universal Supreme. Again, thank you to all the subscribers. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and make sure you're following me so you don't miss any energy updates that we have coming up for you. Peace and love. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I bid you a active February. Peace.